boats that you've brought along,
Okay.
or your group has brought along anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start with mine. Then, well, Glenda's bought this one, but she's not into building them. But she's bought this one to sale off one of our members who built it years ago. But my background is my father came from Barrow-in-Furness in England, which is a shipbuilding town, and he was a shipwright at Vickers, and he worked on the Aotea, which is this New Zealand steamship company liner over here, and then he was in the Navy, in the Royal Navy, and he was on an aircraft carrier, Implacable, which I have at home. And he had a mate on the Warspite, so we built the model of the Warspite. And these are all working models. And then he built the little Stability. And at home I've got a model of the Orion, and that's 5'6", and the Implacable aircraft carrier is 5'6", I think. And then when I was young, Dad and I fell in love with the Wayuna. I made that when I was 8. And then I made this one, which is Kontiki or Ratu or something. And I was the only guide in Camberwell to get my carpenter's badge and toymaker's badge. But my dad loved wood, and you could see that he'd glue all these bits together and carve an aircraft carrier. And after he died, I found all these, like this little one, which he made, and I cleaned it up and painted the swan. And he's even made a few of these little ones. And I've got 3 more at home that I've got to fix up. Just before my dad had moved into Illawong at Patterson Lakes, and he's been sailing model boats, like he built the Warspite when I was 8. So we were always looking for a lake to sail on. And living at Illawong retirement village, he thought, wow, I can sail right outside my back door. And that started the Illawong Model Boat Group, just by word of mouth. And we get a lot of feed from Floater Boat, Adrian and Rhonda. And then just a few years before my dad died, Brian bought a unit up the other end, and he had model boats. He made this cruiser, and it sat under his house for 40 years. And then he moves into Illawong, and he thought, oh, I'll get it going and get on the lake. And then he finds Dad and me, and so he had to rebuild it, and he found out he had to renew just about every part of it except the actual ribs. And then Brian and I built the Wayuna.
Maybe tell us a bit about Wayuna and why it's important.
Okay, well, there's info here as well, but Wayuna was Port Phillip pilot ship stationed off Queenscliff from 1953 to 1979. And then she went to Tassie, to the Australian Maritime College in Launceston. And then when she became obsolete to them, because they do their training by simulators now, Clive Palmer bought her, but he was going to do her as a luxury yacht on the Pilbara, but he never did. And another mining magnate bought her called Gillian Swarby, and she didn't do anything either, and then she had it up for sale. She was trying to sell it for $2 billion. We couldn't sell it. And then $2 million. She was trying to sell the ship.
I thought you said $2 billion.
No, million. And do you know Lindsay Rex? He's a maritime historian, and he knew her and he knew about Wayuna, and he was trying to find a group in Victoria, preferably, to take her and restore her. And then our model boat group, we built the Wayuna, so we did the research, went to Queenscliff, took all the photos of all the models and everything, And one of our guys joined Victoria Maritime Centre at Crib Point, and they had the submarine, and they said, we need merchant navy. He said, what about Waiuna? And then he rang me up and said, do you know the owners? So I got on to Lindsay Rex, and it all happened. And Gillian donated the Waiuna to us. So then Brian and I joined Maritime Museum, and we're working on it. And we've got 3 guys in Tassie at the moment, because the Waiuna's at Bell Bay, and they're staying on board and they're doing the work. And I went with them last month for 5 days. I stayed on board and did the cleaning. All the bird poo and the rat poo.
So why is it coming to Victoria?
Because there's literally nowhere to put it. Because Parks Victoria got given the job of maintaining piers and jetties, and they let them all fall apart.
Yeah, funny.
So we're struggling to find a place, but we've got a few ideas. But
So where's let's tell when you've got
Crib Point.
on a jetty or offshore?
No, it's opposite the Crib Point jetty. The building used to be the BP oil refinery, and they had 650 acres of land, and we rent the building, and we've got our maritime museum in the building, and we've got offices and library and everything upstairs. And a few years ago now, we visited Surrey Park Motorboat Club, where I'm a member too. That's the green badge. And another guy there had built the Waiuna, and we had a time there where we had 2 of them side by side. So one day Brian and I went over there, and he had his, and then he said, you can take it home if you want it. And I'm going, oh, we've already got one. But he said, seriously, I've got to move house, I've got to downsize into a retirement village, and I've got 60 model boats to get rid of.
Oh.
And he said, do you know anyone who'd want it? And I said, yep, the Maritime Museum. So he donated it. They were just gobsmacked. So now we ended up taking it home. We had 2 of them on our dining table, and we finished that and finished these, because making these caravans here was, the mooring ports was really, really hard.
Wow.
Then so that model is now in the museum.
And what about the Warspite? How long did it take your father to build that?
Oh, years. Like, I know that was 4 years to build that, but that could have been 10 years or something. But he didn't add detail to it. It was, in the 70s, it was enamel paint, and a lot of it's metal, and the enamel paint just came off the metal. We had it at Surrey Park one day, and everyone's admiring the detail, but I'm seeing all the missing paint. So Dad and I sort of stripped everything off it, and the varnish on the deck had gone really sort of yellow and horrible. And I scraped the varnish off the deck and re-varnished it, and it just come up beautiful. And then I repainted it. And then we added some detail.
Right. Okay. So now, so we might move on to other boats on this table. Who else has got? And then afterwards we can wander around and talk to people.
Yeah.
Andrew, is this your Regal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge amount to say.
Oh, tell us about it.
Hi, I'm Andrew. This is my pride and joy of Regal Aquarama. Real one's about €1 million, about $2 million. This cost me $100. So I used to run it around Patterson Lakes when I lived on an island. 27 meg, highly illegal. Every now and then it just jump up and do strange things, which is part of the fun of racing it around the canals. So it's purely display these days, but it's just a Vietnamese copy, and it's like 98% identical to the real ones. They're absolutely amazing. the details I went into. The one is something a friend gave to me and I just loved it. Comes through America, it's an American model. Just one of the first tall ships I really fell in love with. I just love the shape of it. It's famous over there. It's on the National Register. Once again, it's one of the last, the real one's one of the last ships of its type. And the Cruiser boat C-161, I was a member of the Cruiser Boat Association for about 10 years. Jack and Joe Pompey, they had the real one of these, 80-footer, lying around the back, languishing. It was there for like 2 years. And the guy had 3,000 or 4,000 on it, then 3,000, and 2.5. And after 2 years, I finally got the real one for 1,800. And if that's some of the early members will know, I used to drag it everywhere. Weighed 2 tonne on the trailer, and I've taken it just about everywhere around Victoria and a few other places as well. One of the few Cooter boats actually sail in motor on the Murray River and up around Hume Weir, similar as well. So it's absolutely gorgeous. So again, this was a cheap model, but I just turned it into a lug rig. I did all the detail, put a little engine cowl in, bent the bowsprit up and made it look like a real one. So it's sort of like 90% the same of what my lovely boat, which I call Maryland 2 after my departed Maryland. And we used to use it as a taxi around Patterson Lakes. We either drive for $2, we can take this out for an hour. I've done a few trips all around the top end of the bay with it. We used to go at night time, do night tours. It's just a lot of fun going out the Cooter boat. And people come out and say, hey, your master's broken, do you need a hand? And no, it's designed to work like that. That's how they did it in the 40s and 50s. I got original registration, so I had it approved by the Cooter Boat Association as being one. So that was a lot of fun. It's there, my trip somewhere.
So where's
I'm told it's still floating around. And it should, because I put about 20 coats of paint on. When I bought it, when I started stripping it off, so I'm fairly fussy when I do real boats, it had literally 2 coats of paint on one side and over 10 on the other side. Must have been a weathered side, and it's kept on painting the weathered side. So I did the easy side first. This is great. I got the stripper out and just stripped up and down, which I love. Hot air gun, stripped it off, and I got red lead, illegal red lead from the Poppies. I used to work for quite a while, and then I hit the other side, and that was a major drummer. It's literally 2 mil thick, and blue and red and green, and about 10 different colours underneath it. It was the other side of the one. So that was fun. So I refurbished it top to bottom, polished it up, brassed it up, try and keep it as original as humanly possible, and it was our taxi. A lot of fun for 10 years.
Right, thank you. Any other boats on this table that we haven't talked about?
Oh, this,
This one?
It's a replica Rima, built probably 25 years ago.
I just need to go to this over here. Don't have to be on film.
It's a replica Rima built about 25 years ago. I started in Surrey Park Model Boat Club just after I got out of the Navy, and that was the first hull I bought. So I decked it up and made it look like a Reva, and it goes quite well.
And what's the timber?
Strip plank mahogany, and mahogany strips, and just some balsa parts, and balsa on the inside holding all the radio gear together. And it's got a Mizuti 2500 motor in it.
Lovely, thank you. How about we walk around this way? So Adrian, perhaps if you can tell us about yours.
Hello, my name's Adrian. This is my Colin Archer rescue boat. Redding Scoit, so if there's any Norwegians in the room. This is a sail model, absolutely to scale of the original Colin Archer, which is the #1 rescue boat, and it's painted up in the original rescue boat colours that they used in Norway. So this was used around, or probably before the First World War, to go and rescue the fishing fleet in Norway if they got into a bit of trouble. Because off the Norwegian coast there isn't really anywhere to go if you get caught on a lee shore. So these boats were designed to go out with 2 people, the man and the boy, or the younger man and the older man normally. 2 people on board. They'd go out and they'd actually go and pull off a lee shore in a gale any of the traditional fishing boats in Norway. So So this boat was designed to beat to windward in 40 to 50 knots of wind. Quite remarkable. And to actually keep everyone alive, which they did remarkably well. So they were used probably after the First World War, mainly as cruising boats, because they were very popular design because of the seaworthiness. And when I'm talking seaworthiness, I'm not just talking about the fact that they managed to float. You could actually work on board these boats in a gale. They're very heavy, very heavily built, very deep draft, long keel. I know it's hidden underneath the trailer there. But they've got a lot of room down below and very, very steady and stable. So you could actually work on deck, even in a probably, I don't know, I've been in one of these in force 7 winds, standing in the galley, just cooking. The boat's just gradually moving side to side, gradually doing that. It's remarkable compared to a modern boat, which is just carnage. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these round the world boats that they've got now. The guys have got seat belts. It's unbelievable. This, you can just stand there and work wherever you are. So that's what the boat was based on. I've got the, if anyone's interested to have a look later, I've got the book here that goes history of Colin Archer. This boat here, this is number 1, Colin Archer. That's an exact replica of that boat. I lived on board one of these for several years when I was at university. Sailed it all over the Baltic and up and down the English Channel and all that sort of stuff. Owned by a fellow called Jeppe Nielsen, who's a fanatic. He'd spent probably 3 years, more than that, 5 years, rebuilding his Colin Archer boat was Stavanger. It was number 14 of the series. And he'd spent many years, his family anyway, spent many years. They bought the boat when it was retired, I think just before the Second World War. After the war, they got it out, cruised around the world a couple of times, and then laid the boat up again. And it was laid up probably through most of the 50s, and it didn't do it a lot of good. The boats are built with a double hull planking. The frames are about 6 inches square pine, so 6 inches square pine, spaced 6 inches apart, right the way down the boat. Unbelievable. The planking on the outside is 2.5-inch thick oak, and the planking on the inside, which is also corked, is another 2 inches of oak. So when I say they're heavily built, I mean they really are heavily built. Between the frames, so that they didn't get damaged, they actually had access holes once they planked the inside, and the entire space between the frames, between the planks, was filled with rock salt to try and preserve them and stop them from getting rot inside, being built of pine. So an amazing boat. The problem with this boat was, after the 50s, they suddenly found out what those inspection holes were for in the inside of all the planking, because someone had actually left them in, painted over them, and all the planking had all subsequently rotted because all the salt had been washed away. So they pulled all those out, suddenly found out what they were for. But believe me, when they rebuilt it, they put them all back again very carefully. Do not paint. I don't know how much it must have cost him. It cost him, I think, the family estate in Norway to rebuild the boat. The mast, I couldn't get my arms around the mast at the bottom, below deck there. That's how big the diameter of the mast was. It was I think it was 1.5 tons of Norwegian pine. And when they wanted to, the only place they could find to lift this thing into the boat was one of the local bridges. And so they had to get a big crane and find this bridge, move the boat underneath, lift this great big mast up and try and dangle it down. Yep. And I think they nearly broke the bridge, but anyway, it all worked in the end. It's quite an effort. So that's what this boat is, that's the history of it. It's fully remote controlled. It goes forwards, backwards, left, right, and all the sails go in and out on command. I won't do it now, but you can have a look when you're finished going around all the other boats.
So what size is it in real life?
Sorry?
In real life, what size would it be? 60 feet? Sorry. What size would it be in real life?
The size is 47, I think they're 47 feet long. So, I can quote from the book if you like. No, you can have a look for yourself, because the whole history of all the boats that Colin Archer built is in here. There are many of them.
No, I used to sail on Indi.
Yeah.
I used to sail on Indi out of Hoppers Bay.
Yeah. Well, there's
Joe's a common answer, both man-made out of wood and all that.
Yep. So it's all, if you want to have a look anyway, all the details are in there. It was a nice time of my life. So when I got a bit older and I wanted something to do one day, I thought I'll build myself a model of the boat, and there it is. It's probably my favourite boat of all time. And you know I like traditional boats anyway. You've seen my little boat. That would have just about fit nicely on the deck of this one. It's a little dinghy. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Indeed.
And have you put
Okay.
fairly large amount of ballast into it to model the weight aspect of it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it floats on its waterline. Let me put it like that.
Okay, so whose boats have we got over behind, AB? These. Come and tell us about these.
There you go. These are some of the model boats. This is one of the models that I used to sell when I used to run a business called Floating Electronics. It's a display model at the moment. It's up for sale if anyone's interested. This is an old whale boat of a kit form, Kyosho's kit. These two are models that an ex-member, Jeff Breyer from the club here, he designed them. One's a 12-foot rowing dinghy and one's a 14-foot rowing and sailing dinghy. They're built with Aussie timbers, 3-ply, mahogany thwarts, and mahogany stripping and just normal calico sails. They were built for my business and I was selling them online. Just something for small people to buy at the shops. They thought they were quite cool.
Thank you. And Andrew.
Oh, yes. This is Mini Mars. Very similar to the boat that I built in full size. So it's a 1/8 model. It's radio control. It was a COVID-19 filler-in timer thing. So yeah, it goes sort of scale speed. It's got all radio control. Yeah, it's all very similar to the real thing. I've sailed about here. That's about the only time I've sailed out on the lake here.
And a micro Mars to go
Yeah,
with it.
it's got micro Mars, and it's even got mini-me driving. So yeah, if you look in the window, it'll be me. So,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that, oh well, I'll talk about that one. Okay, so this one with the red sails I built several years ago now. This is a scale model of my Corsound 17. I took the kids over to the UK to visit their grandparents, and we went to the Falmouth Maritime Museum, where they have a sailing pond inside with fans at water level, and you can sail traditional Falmouth fishing boats anywhere on this pond. And the kids said, "We can do that. Oh, you can do that, can't you, Dad?" So I fiddled around with the plans that I had for the 17 and came up with something with a deck on it, and used fishing rod tips for the masts, fiberglass for the booms. The fabric is 3/4 ounce ripstop, which I had plenty of, and it's very utilitarian, as you can see. We've got a Tupperware tub to keep all the electrics safe, and 2 winches, one to control the rudder, and the other one has an arm on it that pulls and lets out the sails, both main and mizzen. And she sails very well. She sails very nicely, and in fact I built 4 of them because I had 2 for my kids, 1 for me and 1 for my nephew. So we had a little flotilla. So that's that one.
Well, the only thing I can say about the little cooter boat is I found her at the Whittlesea market, and she was in pretty good nick. She looks a little bit better now. But the guy who built it did a beautiful job of it. All the detailing, centerboard chain on the centerboard. Real nice, $30. Can't do better than that.
Is that an RC or just a display model?
That's just as a display model. No, she's actually sitting on a couple of metal spikes. So you wouldn't want to start it. Not my idea.
Would it actually float? You could put it into the bath? Or
Well, I think she would if you clogged those holes up.
Okay, so we'll work around this table now. Thank you, Jack. Starting with, whose is this one? Tim.
again?
This one?
This one.
This is LF Francis Herreshoff's H28 landfall. That's a full-scale model of the yacht. I used these full set of plans and I scaled them down to the size of that. That was built in 1993 to 1994. She's balsa construction with 3 coats of fiberglass on the outside. It's got RNG winches, 2 of, one for the main and mizzen and one for the 2 jibs, and it's got a normal servo rudder operation for the rudder. I've been sailing it up into about 20 knots of wind at Albert Park Lake and also Cherry Lake many times, and she operates on just 2 6-volt gel cell batteries for about 4 or 5 hours without a problem.
Wow. Thank you. And the little
The
tug
little
thing
tugboat
with Gumby?
is another model of mine. It's a English pusher tug that pushes barges up and down the Thames in England, and it was in one of the early model boat books that I used to buy for RC Model Boat Modeler, and I got the plans out of the book and I built it, and I put working navigation lights, and for a bit of fun for the kids, when I was at Surrey Park Model Boat Club, I put Gumby in it because the kids used to come around there, used to ask who's driving it, and I said, well, I haven't got anyone yet. And then I was at a shop one day and I saw Gumby and I thought that would be ideal. He's the right size, so I put him in it. So, and that will push 2 people in a little 12-foot dinghy at no speed, but it will manoeuvre them around. And it's got a teleprinter motor running off 2 6-volt 4-amp gel cells, and that's about 20 years old.
Thank you. Andrew Cohen, do you want to talk to us about Blue Notes? He's not here. We'll come back to Andrew then. Okay. We'll come around to this one then. David Thatcher has one of David O'Dempsey's boats here.
Good evening, everyone. This is a little boat that David O'Dempsey built. He didn't want it anymore, so he passed it on to me and said, would you write this? I said, too right. And I'm doing it up at the moment to give it just make sure there's no leak, to give to a little young bloke that lives near our court that hasn't got much. And I thought that'd be nice to give him for Christmas. I always get a little bit emotional when I go like that, and he said, oh, that'd be lovely. So I've got to get a radio set in there while I can work all that stuff. So that's for him. There's another one that's a little bit bigger that I'm doing for another little lad up the road. He's in the same situation. So I've got another one to do for him before Christmas. I promised them their Christmas Santa and come. So besides my own boats, this is something that I always wanted to build because as a paper boy in Middle Park when I was young, I used to hear these go out from Willie at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. They get round a footy ground and open them up, 2, 12, 12, V12, and then I want no. And that open, you hear them all the way to Point Cook with all the open water. And I always had it in my memory that when I got older I'd build a model of one of them. So I done a job for a bloke and he got me the scale model from England, the plans, but it was of the English version, which the cabinets were different. So I set about with photos to redo the cabinet structure, the same as the ones we had here in Willing. That's the same number as one of the ones there, called Air Guy. Then I met a guy later that had the full-size one called Air View down on Western Port. And then I learned a lot off him. And he was all the info was passed to him from a guy that actually was on them down there. So anyway, they were used, they were brought over, there's a note on there, they were brought over by the Americans, lent-lease to the Royal Australian Navy, painted in grey, later passed on to the RAAF when the Navy didn't want them, and just used. There's one, if anyone ever remembers where the aircraft carrier Melbourne sliced the Voyager in half, then that was, they had two of them still at Nowra that shot out to help their other rescue boats. They were still in existence then, done their job. So much for that, I think. A lot of unfinished detail over it. Runs, goes beautiful. Twin water cooled motors, air cooled, air vents blowing air through, water cooled as well. Goes pretty high speed. Well, I slow it down because it goes above the scale speed. 12 volts. So anyway, that was my number one, the last boat I was ever going to build. It doesn't turn out like that, fella, I'll tell you. As long as you're above ground, you'll be built.
I looked at the magic word earlier. Is that a Fairmont?
Sorry?
Is that a Fairmont?
No, it's a Miami 63.
Right.
They were built by Miami Boat Building and a lot of other boat builders in America as one of the ones they tested for the PT 109s. But it didn't come up to their standard, and the PT 109 or that type of boat was chosen as the torpedo boat. And then these we kept going as rescue, used up through New Guinea and that by the Australian.
Many full-size ones survived.
Yeah, there's one, well up till a year ago there was one down at Yaringa. The guy had done it up as a dive boat, and then he got two of the motors, one from America that was brand new, still in the case and oil from the Yanks, or from the war. Someone had put it in the garage and kept it brand new. Made him an offer, far less than it was worth, grabbed it, and found another one that had been put away up in New South Wales on a farm somewhere. So he finished up with two brand new motors, probably a quarter of the cost of what it cost to build them. So he put them, because we had two Mercedes-Benz diesels in them, he took them out. They were capable of 30 knots. He took it out as far as Phillip Island with a few of his mates on. 100 av gas. He said, I was running out of money filling the tanks up, so we only cruised at 14 knots. Cost a fortune. Last year, I didn't have a lot of superannuation, but he put it up on the market for 130 grand. And I knew it was a bargain, and I said to my missus, well, it'll nearly clean out all our savings, but it'll keep the house and the pension. I think I should buy it. She said, well, how are you going to maintain it? You've got nothing left. I said, oh, not such a good idea. But I don't know what happened to it, it's still there or sold. But a lot of history, see? History goes by, and councils or government, they won't put in nothing. No, it's not worth it. The government, they aren't interested.
Greg Blunt is restoring one.
Yeah, not interested.
Greg Blunt's restoring one.
Yeah, together with
RAF Museum.
Blunt? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Greg Blunt, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be right.
You got one that was down at Lake Seconds.
Yep, yep. Now, if you come round here, I'll just give you a quick on
Yep.
the, and that's right.
So tell us about the Hartley.
Yeah, well, the Hartley was, last year health wasn't too good. I needed a project, something to build in wood. I got to a stage where I could not hold a cup of coffee with two hands and drink. I had to drink through a straw. And the doctor said, you've got to have something to get your mind off it. My legs were having a problem. I finished up, I didn't realise at the time that I'd had a heart attack and needed 2 stents put in. Thought like everyone else, you're infallible. So anyway, I took this on and I said, well, that'll be the last thing. I'd love to build a model of the one I have full size. Identical, everything as near as I can get. But a working model. A working model. So it was only ever going to be a wooden model for the shop. And then a few friends said, no, keep going, make it radio control, make it, well, that's when the headache started. So the biggest problem I found was, yeah, the plan was out. Guess what? I built it till the plan was out. Don't try and fix up the mistakes. Built it till the plan was out. When I got it all done, I thought that's not real nice. But then I set about a month, bogging all the, trying to bog the twist out of it and make it look normal. So, but then later on I thought, well, it's got to have an overlapping jib. I noticed a few of the others tonight have got overlapping jibs, but they reckon they wind them in with winches. Well, I might have to do a bit more studying because I've had this for the last 2 weeks. All I've been doing is putting it all together and it's ready to go and something goes bang. Pull it all the bits again, do it again. Bang, do it all again. Sometimes little clips I've been putting on and getting hooked inside, getting in, and so I'm eliminating the problem. And it will sail, but the finishing of it's only been rough at the moment because it's stripes on one side, rough. I've got to put a couple of letters, a lot of finishing off. But I wanted to get it to a sailing stage first to see if I could get it to sail. I've got the centre of effort never on the creel. I made up one creel, it was no good. I made another one up using the same bulb. Now the bulb on that was lead, and I weighed it all up and worked out it was almost the same size as one of these plastic lasers that you buy when they race. And I took all the plastic off and found that inside was this lead bulb. So now it's on the bottom of that. Because the bloke was going to throw the laser in the bin because his hull was disintegrating. Plastic. So I thought I scrounged all the stuff off the bin and then threw it in the bin. But before I did, I got just a lead bulb. If I want to get one of them made, it's probably $50, $60, $70. Get someone to cast one across the lead in time. So now I made another curl with a balance point, or the centre of effort's more far forward, I think. Hasn't sailed yet, but I think I've got everything pretty close to it. Finishing off, once I know it's sailed, then I can go into wet rubbing it and better paint job and detail like that. But you know, like that was the big effort of, and now my health's starting to come back good again. I'm more inclined to get sails I made myself. One was an old sail that I knocked together out of what I had. The rear one's brand new, made out of cloth that you cannot buy today. It's called 2.2 ounce Bainbridge Dacron, filled Dacron. I've got a couple of rolls of it own and I can get more for the roll than that I can get for an ounce of gold at the moment. It's that, they don't make it anymore. And it's almost the perfect sailcloth for models. I have a lot of other boats with them with a that I used to race with panels, separate panels, but I've just drawn lines on because a lot of the 1 metres that they race now, they're only just making them 1 panel. They got past it. They found out that the advantage you get with a panel sail with shapes is not really used in models. Doesn't matter. Time you go from one buoy to the other, you round, doesn't matter. Time's not critical, as long as it goes that way.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Tim, we didn't talk about your steam engine.
Oh, okay. All right. It's a steam engine that I built, the actual steam plant itself. I built at school at Williamstown Tech when I was back at technical school. And when I joined the Surrey Park Model Boat Club, there was a gentleman by the name of George Bingham, and he was well known for steam plants. So I asked him to make the steam plant. This part is the actual engine itself, the steam plant. He made it up for me for a 4'6" model tug. I've shaped the hull and so forth, but I've not got any further. But some people have often asked me to show them what a steam plant looks like in a model boat. So I've rigged it up so that when I do run it, I can show people the plant and everything. And it's based on a boiling meth bottle. You fill the container with methylated spirits and you light it, and the boiling methylated spirits keeps the flame going, and that keeps it running all the time instead of running a gas bottle. You get about 20 minutes of runtime out of this. It's got itself collecting of all the oil and everything, and then steam comes out. What I was going to do was run a pipe from here up and into the chimney of the tug itself. It'll run to about 25 psi. So, and that would be at a scale speed for a 4'6" tug.
In fact, is below any need for certificate.
Yes,
The last
60
stage.
psi.
Aye.
Like this.
Thank you. And finally, we have a couple of models, a completed model and a partly completed model by Tom Whitfield, one of our very early members. It's a rowing gig. It's actually a Cornish pilot gig. And Andrew can tell us about it.
Oh, he knows nothing about it. Whatever it says here. Anyone else know about it? It's famous, Tom Whitfield. Do you know anything about it? There you go. He's an expert.
I think it was, going to get one built.
There you go. That's it.
So they built a timber for it. To build one, something like that, but the boat was built.
Right. Oh well, he did a lovely job of the model, that's for sure. It's much better than a half model.
Beautiful workmanship in that timber. I looked at it earlier. I would have loved to sit there and watch you make it.
Strip what?
I really would. You know, it's so, when I look at some of my own, and I think I've been pretty good, and I look at some of that big, mate, got nothing on that.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous boat. Have we got any other boats that we haven't covered yet? No? Okay.
They're all for sale. 50% off tonight.
Oh.
Can I just butt in and say thank you to all the members that have put in here tonight, bought food, bought their boats, put on the display, done the film work, all had their bit of talk about their boats, and all I can say is, well, it's not up to me, but as one member to the others, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.